All right, here we go with Trends on Thursdays just for you. The last one before Christmas, actually. First up, all right, here we go with Trends on Thursdays just for you. The last one before Christmas, actually. First up, cash is slowly going away, with 29% of Americans making no purchases using cash in a typical week. That's 5% less than 3 years ago, and by now almost half of Americans aren't that worried about whether they have cash on hand or not, since there are so many other ways to pay for things. The global trend is to minimize cash use, with Sweden at the forefront, and they just recently committed to go cashless by 2025. Reportedly, one IKEA store went cashless when they figured out that just 1% of shoppers used cash, but employees spend 15% of their time dealing with that cash. The question will be if it makes sense to go more and more cashless, since it makes life easier for both shoppers and the merchant, or if we're putting people at a disadvantage when they are older or unable to afford technology. As the individual business owner, it will definitely be in your best interest to embrace cashless, and being familiar with Amazon Pay, Google Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal, you get the idea. Next up, as several states rush to legalize cannabis for medicinal and/or recreational use, and CBD is being infused into everything you can infuse it in, there are several bigger questions to consider. For retail, it's just of course a matter of jumping on the trend and figuring out if I can stick CBD into my product lineup, infuse it in soaps or brownies, and so on. In the bigger picture, the question is also what it means for employee drug testing policies. What about THC where it's legal? It's an industry with huge potential that is coming whether you like it or not. I've met with some executives that are in it, and there's a lot of innovation and planning going on, and we will be seeing that in the coming months. Next, SMS bots for sales are pretty cool, and Dirty Lemon has done really well using them. The trendy beverage lets you text them from your phone and will ask you for questions, and your order is on its way. This, of course, works on other messaging platforms as well, like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, but somehow with SMS, it just feels a little more intimate. Bots are becoming easier to set up, whether it's for ordering or to call off information, and as long as you don't abuse the privilege of a customer letting you text them, this can be a quick way to engage direct-to-consumer communications. Just remember, in the long run, marketers ruin everything, so don't go overboard with constantly nagging people with sales and pitches, because it will backfire, especially because 90% of texts will be read within 3 minutes and 98% will be read by the end of the day. So be strategic, not pushy. In related news, currently 45% of people find chatbots annoying, and 78% say the problem with their experience is that bots are too impersonal. Lots of work to be done. Last but not least, 72% of millennials prefer brands that respond on social media over brands that do not. Proof that social media is about being social. Millennials are expected to make up 30% of retail sales, or some $1.4 trillion by 2020. Proof that millennials matter. And by the way, over half of them will post about a negative experience on social media. Proof that it's time to have a solid strategy in place for addressing experiences, providing quick answers and feedback, and being just altogether willing to communicate with your customers on whatever channel might be comfortable for them. I personally had an experience recently where I had a legitimate complaint about product quality with a major brand, and they referred me to their website to rehash everything I had already explained in the Facebook chat. Lame. Make sure it's easy for people to leave good reviews and contact you, hopefully in a more private setting, about any issues that may arise, and then communicate quickly. Your brand will thank you for it. That's it for this week. I'll be back next week with the final trends video for this year. Until then, share this with someone who can benefit from Trends on Thursdays. I'm Tobias Wilhelm.